Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Melissa Crafter, and in this week's video I'm going to be showing you how I add water slide pen wraps to my glitter pens. This is just the way that I do it, and I wanted to share that with you guys. If you're new here, I upload a video every Thursday, so be sure to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comment section. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is melissacrafter00. Thank you. So let's get started really quick. I want to show you guys where I purchased the pen wraps. I purchased them off Etsy, and here's the Etsy shop name. It's called A Design Gifts or AI Design Gifts. It was 290 glitter pen wrap templates, and they did only cost $2.53. They did include a lot of the ones that I wanted, so I went ahead and purchased this file. After purchasing, I did go ahead and download them to my computer, and then went ahead and got on Design Space. On Design Space, you do want to upload the ones that you want to print out on your water slide paper. To upload, you simply click on the left hand corner where it says upload, and you upload any of the images that you want. The pen wrap, you do want to size them to 1.5 for the width and then 4.5 for the height, and that will be a perfect size to wrap around your pen. Sometimes they are sized correctly, other times they aren't, so just be sure to size them up correctly to 1.5 for the width and then 4.5 for the height. You can just print out the designs that you're going to be using at the moment, but as for me, I don't like to waste any of the water slide paper, so I print out extra designs that I might use for a later time. Or for another project. So I go ahead and insert a square shape on the left hand corner. I go ahead and insert a square, and then I resize that square to 6.75 and the height 9.25. That's the biggest that Cricut will let you print before they give you an error. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a square and then resize it to those dimensions, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to fill up this square with as many designs as I could. Here I'm just moving the square to the back, that way I can fill up the square as much as I could with designs to fill up my water slide paper. I had already did this prior to recording this video, that's why they already were in a square. But for the purpose of this video, I went ahead and inserted that square, and I'm going to try to fill it up as much as I could. That way I don't waste any of my water slide paper. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm inserting as much designs as I could. So as I mentioned, I did do this before I recorded this video, so obviously they're going to all fit. But I just try to fit in as much designs as I could. That way I fill up my page. And now that they are, my square here that I added is completely filled up, I'm going to go ahead and take it off, delete it. And then I'm going to go ahead and select all of my designs, and I'm going to click on the bottom where it says attach. That way they're all grouped together. And then I'm going to go ahead and click make it. And you'll see here that they are all on one page, and my entire page here is filled up. So now I'm going to go ahead and send it to my printer. This is an inkjet printer that I'm using, and I'm going to go ahead and take off the bleed and then turn on the use system dialog. And once you turn that on, this screen here is going to pop up. You do want to have the color on fine, and then the medium quality, and then the paper type, you do want to switch it to photo glossy paper, and then the quality, you always want to have it at best. Here is the paper that I'm going to be using. I do have an inkjet printer, so this is the one that I purchased. It is from this Haynes paper company, and I did purchase it off Amazon. I'll go ahead and link it down below, as well as everything else that I used in this video. And in the back, it gives you clear instructions as to how to print it, as well as sealing the designs with a clear coat. And then it also gives you instructions on how to add it to your projects. I purchased the clear one, but I know they also have the one with the white backing. So here is my designs all printed, and I am going to allow this to dry for 3 to 5 minutes, just as the instructions state to do. If you are using an inkjet printer like I am, you do have to seal your images using a clear spray paint. If you don't seal them, once the paper comes in contact with water, the ink will bleed. So here I'm going to be using this Rust-Oleum 2-time gloss clear spray paint to go ahead and seal my Waterslide sheet with. If you're using a laser printer, you don't need to seal your images. They'll be fine just adding them to your pens. You do want to be sure that you are in a well-ventilated area when you are using any type of spray paint. I'm going to go ahead and put my Waterslide sheet in just a shipping box, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it a light spray. I did give it 3 coats of this Rust-Oleum spray paint, and I did wait 20 minutes in between each coat to make sure that my images were well sealed. Now, I did allow my Waterslide sheet to gas off for 48 hours after I went ahead and sealed it with spray paint. The reason for that is simply because I am going to be using Brite Tone from the Crystalac company to go ahead and seal my pen after I add my Waterslide decal to it. As some of you know, or as some of you might not know, Brite Tone is a water-based top coat that does require, since it is water-based, it does require any solvent-based products to gas off completely before Brite Tone is added to the cup, or in this instance, the pen. I believe that for epoxy, that's not the case. You can just allow the spray paint to dry, and then you can automatically add it to your pen, and then go ahead and seal your pen with epoxy. But I could be wrong. So if you are using epoxy, be sure to research that before you go ahead and add the Waterslides to your pen. So here I'm just cutting out the pen wraps that I'm going to be using out of the ones that I printed out. To cut them, I'm using just a pair of scissors. I know I go off frame a little bit here, but I'm simply just cutting them out using a pair of scissors and just cutting it as close to the image as I could. So here are the 2 Waterslide wraps that I'm going to be adding to my pens here that I chose. I do have a video on how I glitter my pens. Here I have them already to the point where I can add my Waterslide decals to them. They're completely smooth with coats of Brite Tone. So I do have a video, as I mentioned, where I glitter pens like these, and I'll go ahead and link it here on this frame on the top right hand corner, as well as in the video description if you are interested in learning how to glitter the pens. So here I'm just going to go ahead and dip my Waterslide wrap into just room temperature water, and I'm going to allow that to sit in the water for about 30 seconds. So here I'm just going to kind of wet my pen up a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull my Waterslide decal out the water, and I'm going to make sure that my hands are wet because this can tear easily. So you just want to make sure that your hands are a little bit wet, your fingers are a little bit wet. That way when you're pulling the backing off, you don't tear it. Here I was having a little bit of trouble, but I went ahead and dipped it in water, and then just carefully pull out the backing as you're placing the Waterslide on there to fully wrap your pen. You do want to be careful and take your time when placing the full wrap on your pen, simply because it does tear easily. You can use these silicone brushes like this one here to help you with placing your full wrap on. So here I added my second design to my water, and I'm going to allow that to sit in there for about 30 seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and wet my pen just so that it'll help with placement. And then it helps if you kind of slide the backing off a little bit and then kind of place it, and then kind of at the same time pull out the backing at the same time, while still holding on to the water slide on there. As I mentioned, do be careful with tearing. So always kind of wet your fingers and then kind of glide them through the pen. That way you don't have any tearing. If your fingers are dry, it can easily cause the wrap to tear. Here I'm running my finger on the pen just to be sure to take any of the excess water out, but still being careful to not tear my pen wrap. After my designs are on the pens, I'm going to go ahead and allow them to dry for around 3 hours. That's what the instructions say on the Waterslide paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow that and allow them to dry for 3 hours before I go ahead and start coating these with Brite Tone. So I didn't really like this butterfly pen wrap that I added to this pen earlier. So immediately after that clip, I did end up taking it off. Surprisingly, it came off super easily. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this sunflower design that I like a little bit better. And then as I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and allow this to dry for 3 hours before I start coating these pens with Brite Tone. This is what Brite Tone looks like. It is from the Crystalac company, and you can purchase it at thecrystalacstore.com. I'll also link it down below, but it is a water-based non-toxic top coat. I do purchase the clear gloss top coat, and it is an epoxy alternative. This is what I use to gloss up my pens as well as my cups. With Brite Tone, since it is non-toxic, it is completely safe to use even indoors. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my pens on my spinner, and I'm going to go ahead, as I mentioned earlier, seal these pens using Brite Tone from the Crystalac company. At this point, these pens are completely smooth, so I'm just going to add a couple more coats of Brite Tone to go ahead and completely smoothen out these pens and seal up this Waterslide pen wrap. I'm going to go ahead and add a thin coat of Brite Tone to both my pens, and then I'm going to allow them to spin for an hour and then dry for an additional 3 hours. That's how every coat of Brite Tone is added. And I'm going to go ahead and continue coating until I'm completely satisfied with my gloss finish, which I mentioned, since these pens are already completely smooth, it's only going to take a couple coats to go ahead and gloss up these pens. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. This is how the pens turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, as I mentioned, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down in the comment section. Remember that I'm here to help. And if you have any video suggestions for me, please drop them down in the comment section as well. Thank you guys so much for watching.